Welcome to the New Game Plus Game Showcase, a new initiative built by creators who love games for what they are and not just the games that pay to have them promoted. First up, I'm Hunter. I'm normally behind the camera across gaming and esports events, and I work on social accounts for a ton of different games. My favorite games of all time would probably be RuneScape, Dark Souls 3, Leaf Green, Black Ops 2, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Then we have Jake Lucky, kind of the point where gaming, esports, and streamers collide. If you look at him for too long, you'll start to wonder why his neck is so long, and if you look at his Twitter for too long, you'll wonder how much Nadeshot paid him to tweet clips of him every single day. His favorite games of all time are RuneScape, Age of Empires 2, Halo Infinite, Jumpstart Adventures with Bodley, and CSGO. Next up, Luality, a streamer with a hatred of spoons and a love for dragon sex. Lua probably has more personality than the rest of us in her pinky. Her favorite games include Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, XCOM 2, Witcher 3, and Mass Effect. Then Luke Stevens, the mind of a critic with the heart of a fan. Luke breaks down games through their DNA and really looks at everything.
Let's see what Luke does all the time.
Where our brains might be smooth, his is nice.
I follow
and
Luke.
His favorite games of all time are Elden Ring, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Last of Us, Witcher 3, and Batman Arkham City.
All the time?
And final in-person member this year is I Am Rob. Rob came from the hell of making Call of Duty videos to the other hell of platinuming games. His favorite games of all time are Witcher 3, Halo 3, Batman Arkham City, X-Men Legends, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
This makes sense.
Confused with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Then our final member is Blue Thunder, the man who is always
that one we had before made sense to me.
Anyone else sees it coming.
That's what it's got.
He just had a beautiful second child that luckily takes after his wife, so he's not here in person, but was a major part of the showcase. His favorite games of all time are Resident Evil 2, Silent Hill 2, Elden Ring, The Last of Us, and Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay.
Together we're pressing how we think game showcases should feel. Conversational, authentic, and transparent.
The earlier few was kind of weird because it's mostly new games.
Worlds, creative devs, and stories behind those games that we love so much.
There's no paid placements, no marketing scripts, just pure passion and excitement for what's coming up in gaming.
You can expect a wide range of content, including new trailers, fresh gameplay, developer interviews, behind-the-scenes content, and even some updates to your favorite games.
So sit back, grab your drink of choice, and let's dive into some of the games that we think are worth your attention. This is the New Game Plus Game Showcase.
Yeah, also, who picked the name?
New Game.
It's a work in progress.
Wait, what's the name of it?
New Game Plus shows the showcase.
New plus the game plus the showcase.
Have we trademarked that yet? Because I don't.
Oh, God.
Well, we have cups.
We already got the cups.
Sick name.
The cups are done, dude.
We might have to cut our losses.
There's no changing it up.
Cheers.
Perfect.
I
like the vibe. In terms of the presentation, how it's so far. I think it's kind of cool.
All right, guys, so first up, we have three awesome games. We have Blind Descent coming from Owlcat. We have Deep Dish Dungeon coming from Behold and Raw Fury, as well as an exclusive interview with the Don Walker creative director.
This looks like a VR game. This is probably definitely a VR game. Looks VR-ish. Okay. Okay. Not my type, but this game looked good the first time I saw it. I really like how this game looked.
Must be here somewhere.
But then I find what type of game it is. And it kind of sounds like a game that's out of my depth as a gamer. I ain't gonna lie to you.
A Dawnwalker is like a special kind of being in our IP. It's neither fully a vampire nor a human. It's something in between. What this means is basically that you, as a Dawnwalker, you have underwent a transformation. You used to be human. And now, during the nighttime, you do get all the powers and the difficulties of being a vampire. So you get the blood craving and so on. But during daytime, these powers are dormant and you still have to eat. You have all the weaknesses of a human, right? But also the perks of being human. One of the things that is unique to humans in our IP is being able to use magic, so casting spells. The Dawnwalkers are not very commonplace in that IP. They are very, very rare, rarer than vampires. So you as a Dawnwalker are kind of special in this regard. I would say the short-term things that have immediate impact on the character development are you have to feed on, you know, either animals or humans on blood suddenly, right? So you get these cravings, you get these like weird, eerie experiences that you didn't have as a human. Francis and his clique of vampires actually caught him on his low point when he was vulnerable. He has used a specific traits of vampiric blood in order to cement his position in the valley. Because, you know, as you might imagine, having a bloodsucker as your lord might be a tough sell. However, if the alternative is getting sick and, you know, dying in thousands, actually it doesn't sound as such a horrible thing. He tries to kind of distort the religious beliefs in order to install himself as a savior of the valley. We do explore this in the game, so you might see, like, for example, statues erected to Francis, new iconography shown in the local cathedral, for example, and in the castle and so on. There is this whole cult of personality he builds around himself. So he basically shows himself as something better than the old order, right? We do have a mechanic tied to shrines that are erected across the valley, and Francis puts a lot of attention to kind of twist them to his own image. And these do have a functionality. When you play the game, we have assigned specific functions to them. Generally speaking, one of the things we wanted to achieve in this game is to have Francis being this active antagonist. You know, in a lot of games, the antagonists are out there to be defeated, but generally speaking, you have free reign, you do your own thing, and it doesn't really, change much in how they approach you. In this game, what we wanted to do is to have Francis react to your actions as you complete different activities throughout the valley, as you maybe undermine his operations and so on.
It's kind of like his seal of approval.
Exactly. So it's like, so basically the way you can think about it is like the more you do in the valley, especially if you undermine Francis, you will gain notoriety. The more notorious you are, the more edicts Francis will pass in order to thwart you. So, for example, he might send out more soldiers to patrol roads and villages, right? He might, in some extreme cases, maybe even initiate a lockdown of the city to basically hamper your ways of traversing it, right? There is a number of these edicts we have prepared, and each of them is designed to kind of twist and change the general open world gameplay. It also has benefits. There are factions in the valley that dislike Francis, so the more notoriety you gain, the better standing with them you get, like they actually like that. There is a number of plot lines that you can follow if you want. You can also cut them off because we have added these systems where, for example, you might lose control over Cohen when he's a vampire if he was hungry. You might kill off some important NPCs, and then the plot line just cuts off basically, or you get some alternative version. There are some ways to enter the castle in the open world. You can ignore these side plot lines. You can level up Cohen and decide to attack the castle on your own, right?
Out of curiosity, is there romance in the game?
Romance, yes, of course. We do have romance options, yes. We didn't delve deep into like with whom yet.
Okay.
And I'll leave that for the future to talk about. However, yes, you can expect to build relationships with characters. Like I said, there is like one main goal, very varying ways to get to it. These different ways that you pick will impact, you know, what happens with Veil Sangora in the end, and it's all up to you. And I think, yeah, I really recommend experimenting with this stuff and having fun with it.
First one, Blind Descent, Martian, survival, co-op, adventure.
Gives me Subnautica vibes, and in the best way possible. I really like it, but like more with land exploration, which is really cool.
I can't pinpoint her accent.
We're also going to see a lot of survival games today. So I think it all comes down to what the
Only at night for missions. You're just doing stealthy vampire
Talking
stuff,
section's way too
and
long.
You're eating people, or you're drinking blood rather, not eating.
The guys
That's
that
like
they keep
Prince
mentioning,
as an
I
antagonist
wonder
is
if
not
it's
just like pure evil, doing all sorts of horrible stuff. Like he is helping
vampire?
like, the people in some ways,
or
in
is
order
it
to
the
get control of them. But he's like curing them of
soldier
the
guy?
plague. Like he offers them something they aren't getting elsewhere. So he's
Right,
doing bad
sounds like a
stuff, so
vampire.
there's nuance.
And that typically
Be a savior, right?
Yeah, it's a vampire guy.
For the next section, we have 3, again, I'm gonna have to not say incredible games every single time, but we have Prologue, Go Way Back from PlayerUnknown, Beautiful Light from Deep Worlds, and Project Shadowglass from Starhelm Studios.
It's just an infinite map generator with some game loops on top of it. So you have a survival loop, which is pretty hard. Get to the weather tower, we give you a map and a compass and not much else. Some basic survival mechanics, and it's a game against yourself more than anything else and kind of the decisions you make. Then we also have just objective survive, which is just see how long you can last in the world, and free roam for those that just like a hike. The differentiator, or the thing that makes a difference, is that we can generate essentially infinite maps of 8x8 scale. Like we have a map editor in the game and stuff like that, but we want to be able to give you the ability to give a deep link to someone. So I can just send you like a HTTP link that starts up the game, loads a map and a seed, and I can share stuff I've built with you with just a link, right? So it's kind of, Go Way Back is just, it's a technological experiment that, or proving some technology we've developed. It's no longer an experiment, it's in production, so it works. But it's also going back to my love of survival games and those kind of emergent, just, I'm not giving anyone missions to do, it's just get there, and how you get there is fully up to you. Basically, if you play the same seed, you get the same weather, I'm pretty sure you get the same cabin layout, and you maybe get the same loot. So you and 4 friends could technically race to the weather tower and see who gets there first, because you have the same conditions. And while we don't have multiplayer yet, you have this kind of asynchronous multiplayer that, as long as you can share the seed with people. And I thought, wouldn't that be a cool thing for events where you have 16 streamers and see how long they can survive in objective survive mode, right? Or see who can race to the weather tower quickest, or we can set up the weather just to get progressively colder and see who lasts the longest. There's a weather tower on top of one of the higher points on the map. It's generally the other side of the map. We do have prompts now that tell you what to do in the world, but yeah, there's some simple survival mechanics. Keep yourself warm, keep yourself dry, light fires, board up windows, keep your body in a good temperature, get across the map. And we don't tell you where you are on the map, except when you find a new map in the world and it updates your position, you're left for basic navigation. It's kind of set in the 80s, so you don't have digital GPS, stuff like that. I want to make sure that the worlds we're generating have enough depth that when we add story and mission and quest-based content, that the worlds feel like coherent and real enough that it makes sense. Like, I want to have pathing, I want to have like infrastructure, like telephone lines, this kind of stuff, so the cabins aren't just random cabins in the forest, that there seems to be some, like, you know, logical placement of stuff in the world. And once we have those in, then we can more easily go, well, okay, you need to connect all the substations to bring power to the weather tower so you can get a message or go and do various things. Right now, there's a bunch of cabins and there's survival mechanics, but we want to add a lot more depth to the environment. Preface is a tech demo. That I always said I wanted to release a free tech demo of the engine we're building, and that's what Preface is. And the kind of poetic thing is that my last game will be Preface, because it'll just be a visualization of what's possible with our engine at that time. And it's more like Minecraft Survival, that it's an example of what you can do with the engine, and it'll be open source and free for everyone, so you can do whatever you want. So having this kind of digital space, like an internet in 3D, I don't see anyone working towards that. I see small bubbles, but I don't see anyone really trying to do Earth-scale terrain with millions of people. And that's kind of the bigger goal, and that's why we've broken it down into 3 games. The aim is that you should be able to do anything from 10 by 10 to 100 by 100 with 5v5 or 100v100 relatively easily and not have any problems. We will build maybe an Earth-scale terrain, maybe smaller, with hopefully a network layer that supports millions of people. That will be kind of a survival civilization MMO type game. But again, that's just one layer of the world. Like, I want you to be able to just jump around the world and see what's happening, because you should be able to, like, I think if you want to interact with the world, there should be a layer of survival you have to do, or a layer of gameplay in order to kind of leave your impression on the world.
Interesting. I still don't remember what studio was that.
Quebec Charlie to Quebec Romeo Foxtrot. We got your location report. We are monitoring you in the operation zone. Good luck. Over.
Okay. This is wild. Oh, beautiful light. Okay.
In a world where pixels were once only 2D, now they're 3D.
Oh, I'm just with you. I'm Dominic John, the dev behind Project Shadowglass, a 3D pixelated RPG that's a love letter to classic immersive sims like Thief and System Shock. This video is a series of prototype rooms that I've been working on some of the core systems in. No art, no assets will be generated by AI. This is all human-made, hand-placed, made by me and artists like me because we love what we do. Headphones, I would highly suggest wearing them. All the audio in Project Shadowglass is going to be 3D, and not just 3D, but simulated. The music emanating from this orb is going into the left ear and the right ear, but as I change the size of the space, you can hear the character of the sounds change. If we go around the wall, we can still hear it coming from the opening in each ear. actually launched the Shadowglass Discord today, so if you have any ideas or suggestions or just want to follow along, feel free to wishlist Project Shadowglass on Steam. I hope you enjoyed this sneak peek on how things are coming along. Thank you so much, all the crew at New Game Plus, for having me. Be well, my friends.
To start with, Prologue, Go Way Back, another survival game that we're seeing, and we were talking, it's a bare bones survival game where there is no common enemy. Your enemy is the elements, where you just have to try and survive and make it to that point. So if you guys don't know Brennan Green, he not only was behind the Battle Royale mode of H1Z1, which we talked a long time about, he was also the creator of PUBG. So people have a lot of faith in him and what he calls his 10-year plan. And he talks about his ultimate goal being he wants 1 million players on a server. He wants the internet to be made 3D and for all of us to actually truly be able to play together, which I know is a crazy transition from us talking about a survival game.
Single-player survival game?
Like we want to cover their survival game because I love survival games, and they're going to be branching out in this game for the next few years until they have multiplayer, until they have weapons, and they have PvE and animals to fight against. But it's also part of a much bigger picture.
Also a story. He mentioned that they will be adding also a story to the
Things
world.
to do, yeah.
Yes.
That's got to be like the most ambitious, one of the most ambitious projects out there right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy to
What's so
think
funny
about.
about him is that he's like, yeah, I want like millions of players to be playing together on like a gigantic map, but you know, not to undersell it.
Shoot for the stars, brother. Shoot for the stars.
No one's done that yet. Next game we talked about was Beautiful Light by Deep Worlds SA. That's a PvPvE tactical extraction shooter. There are 6 3-person squads, and there's also a lot of anomalies and monsters and stuff that we saw in it. Looks like I'm gonna be scared.
Yeah, it looks very scary.
I mean, I appreciated that it was very immersive. Like he had the sort of Pip-Boy looking thing over there.
Yeah.
And speaking of big words, I actually looked up what that's called. It's called diegetic UI.
Oh, did you say diegetic?
Diegetic.
Thinking the same.
Diegetic. Write that one down.
We're all thinking of that word.
But it's really, really cool in games like this, especially because it's like hyper immersive. There's no UI popping up being like, oh, attack incoming. It's just, no, you are in the moment, you're in the game, listen around you, look at the thing on the character itself. I love that.
So you can play as a monster, or as or as the soldier. Is there controller support?
I don't know. Great question.
Duality, she just threw up in her mouth.
I have nothing against controllers, but I believe there's a right time for mouse and keyboard and a right time for keyboards. And he believes that the right time for a controller is when you're playing shooter games. It's obviously better. The mouse and keyboard is better for that. But not for him.
I would edit my own YouTube videos with a controller.
Yeah, he said that earlier.
That's how passionate I am.
Which is a patently insane thing to say.
Yeah, then we have Project Shadowglass.
Voxel art. I really enjoyed the box.
This is Starhelm Studios. It's an immersive sim. We've all seen it. I think it went viral from that AI post. There was like an AI post that looked just like it, and then he was like, I'm making a game like this. It's not AI.
I looked up the video because he has a YouTube channel where you can actually see kind of behind the scenes. And when that clip of the AI generated art went viral, he saw it and thought like, I didn't think anybody wanted this. I was just like, it was a fun side project. And then he saw people wanted it and thought it looked awesome, and he put it out, but it's real.
Well, we talked about it earlier, there's a desire for stuff like that. The more simplicity, kind of retro feel.
It feels like the game is still like learning what it wants to be. Like he's working on the graphics, the basics, the music, and as like they have a bow and an arrow, and hopefully as they work on the project, they start feeling what it will grow to be, what kind of game it will develop itself into.
Yeah, my understanding is right now it is just Project Shadowglass, and then it's gonna eventually become like a video game, but right now it's just kind of proof of concept that the art works, the crazy math behind it works, and like it can grow to a game, but it's certainly very
Well, I wish him nothing but success.
Yeah, he seems like
because it seems like
awesome
I just
dude.
love a good passion project. Yeah. You can tell there's a lot of heart in that.
And I feel like I initially, like everyone else, why I went so viral, I got attached to that same artwork, but then when he further explains and shows you some concepts that you weren't expecting out of a game with that artwork or that design, when he's showing that you said the R6 lean in there. And you,
that threw me off. The little bow behind. I was like, is that a Rainbow Six?
You threw that in there, and then of course they got the wall grapple, and then with the whole audio design as well. I mean, I'm definitely.
I remember seeing that clip that went viral. I remember seeing it. I was like, wow, that looks incredible. Like walking up to the castle.
This section, we have three, what I would consider kind of sci-fi games a little bit, but we have Aphelion from Don't Nod, which we have an incredible look behind the scenes of the music with the composer themselves, as well as The Expanse Osiris Reborn from Owlcat. If you're familiar with The Expanse, super exciting, and also Distant Shores, Brittany.
Oh, this one's gonna be complete. I like how this one looks. I'm very fond of like story-driven space stories. So this looks like the stealth game. Almost like Deliver to Mars. I wonder what that team is up to.
I'm a film music composer, and I am the composer for Aphelion, the video game. I remember having a message from Talal saying that he loved the score of Summit of the Gods, and they are working in a new video game, and inviting me to come to the studio and to meet the team. It was very important for me to understand how the music would be interactive. So how to compose, how to write music that would be interactive, with models, with stems, with separating the different elements, and at the same time, how could the music, how the structure of the music would be an evolving structure. It was very important for me first to have the story of Ariane and Thomas, like that the log line is the story, both of them. So there is a theme that conveys this emotional relationship between them. And then the frozen aspect of the music. I mean, for me, it was very important first to feel the cold in the music, to feel the wind, to feel the ice. It's an instrument that had been invented by the Bachet brothers in the mid-20th century. For me, it looks like an alien instrument. When you see it, you cannot even predict that it's a musical instrument. To play the instrument, you need to get your hands in water and then rub crystal buttons that are.
I understand what they were going for with the game show, but like,
could convey.
I don't know.
This frozen identity of the score, and at the same time having
it's not
this magical sense of
entertaining to watch. But I understand what they were going for in terms of with everything.
There is a sacred feeling also to this.
Oh, it's still on the same game.
It's a huge planet, but I wanted to get.
It's still on the same game. Wow.
The organ has a lot of sounds. It could be very soft. It could be very aggressive. It could be large. It could be.
You put a lot of effort into this game.
The planet could be very welcoming and suddenly very, how to say, very dangerous and very sacred at the same time. So
they are putting a lot of effort into this game.
Could give this majestuous feeling to the score. I'm so happy to write the music for Aphelion. It's the first time for me to write a video game score, and it's a lot of fun and a lot of passion.
You can tell he's excited about it, but it's like I don't think it makes an interesting game show, a game presentation, because it's not really showing anything new of the game, really, in terms of like mechanics. At least with the Dawn Walker, it kind of like tells you, and even that didn't really communicate anything new, because we already knew about the day and night time thing. So far, it's kind of meh. I like this though. This looks nice. This is the Expanse game. I hope this is a better interview.
We had some discussions at the early stages of the production, to be honest, whether to go fully class system or something else. And again, we started with sitting down and lining up what possible ways that the player might perceive the game. The power fantasies, how he can express himself in combat. So he might want to be a sniper, might want to be a hacker, maybe an engineer, something else. As we designed those playstyles, we thought how to mix it up a bit, how to let player to experiment with what he encounters during the game. So, for example, when he finds a neat shoulder cannon, as we've shown in the announcement trailer, even if he's a sniper, he might want to experiment with that. Why not? It fits the universe, it fits the playstyle. He might want to see how it works, and so we decided why not to give him the possibility to do that. That was the idea behind the playstyle. So playstyle is basically the starting preset that kind of gently guides you towards the certain direction of your power fantasy of how you play the game. At some point, the player will need to commit to his choices. So again, it's an important part of the choices system. You know, if you just can switch everything on the fly, that kind of makes your choices less important. So at some point you need to stick to particular guns, particular gadgets, and you just build around them.
Makes sense.
We give you some time to experiment, but you will need to commit. During the character creation, you will have to choose between
it's a character creation?
3 major factions. Your origin, so you'll be
detail the character creation, though.
Earther or Martian. Facial customization, appearance, you can choose your body type.
So you will be playing as a pink water mercenary with different type of origins that you would create.
I guess they didn't want to show the character creator.
Identical one. They will look a little bit different because they're their own person. They have their own personality. These events are set during the first 3 books, I think. You will start on Eris and witness basically the events from a different angle, and this part will be to some degree shown in your character creation.
Every companion should belong somewhere in the universe, and they have their own background consisting of their affection and their acquaintance. They have some background story, their own struggles. All this stuff will influence how they perceive the situations player encounters. So in every major plot event, they will have their opinions. They might hint you towards some decisions. They might provide you some assistance, or maybe even some crucial contacts to go for help, for advice, for military support, maybe. Of course, they will have their own stories, their own struggles, and you can choose to help them, or maybe to ignore their own stories, totally depending on how you want to be invested in this particular companion. The choices you make for those companions also will matter in long term.
Yep, some of them will have romances, and you can see on our background companions.
Perfect,
We cannot say who is going to have romance, but there will definitely be romance in our game.
It's a small crew on the small ship. You know, the Expanse, it's a universe where everyone flies in very tight spaces for a very long time. So there is a dynamics in the crew as well. We have a few layers of the combat system. First of all, it's obviously the gunplay. A few classes of weapons that you can use, and mostly you do it from the covers, so it's a cover-based gunplay game. And the second layer of the combat system is that's your abilities. That they might be more like offensive ones, maybe something like a grenade or a shoulder cannon, or maybe something more defensive like a shield, or maybe a protective drone. A lot of gadgets that you can choose from depending on your play style. And as Julia mentioned, there are some play styles that are mostly focused on using your gadgets rather than using your weapons. Third layer, but still very important, that's obviously your companions. They have their impact on the combat. They have what we call combat opportunities. That's particular situations when you can order your companion to use an exploit in the arena, in the environment, to gain a certain advantage in combat. We decided against the management, the gameplay part of the survival stuff. So you won't be counting your gallons of reaction mass.
To be honest, I was expecting a bit more trailers, but it seemed like this showcase is very interview heavy.
Very dangerous. So in terms of narrative, the survival will be a part of the game. You will have.
It's almost like the Xbox Direct that's gonna come. I even think it's more interview heavy than the Xbox Direct.
To get out somehow.
To be honest,
there will be a lot of survival in terms of your player experience, just not as a particular mechanic. You will be able to fly around the
but
solar
I think
system.
this one is the most interesting one so far. It gives a lot of context, a lot of additional stuff that the game is going to be able to do, and I think that's way more interesting than what came before, and so forth.
Cool places to visit, and some of those places will be like major social hubs where you can just walk around, meet other people, drink at the bar, shop for better equipment and stuff like that. So you will have plenty of places to go and to visit and to look at. The Expanse universe is cruel, and some characters might die because of your choices. Stay tuned for more. We will show more very soon. Have something cooking. I hope you will like it.
That's interesting.
Welcome back, Aaron. We trust your flight was smooth. We have landed you on the outskirts of Genyak Island. Stay alert.
Hey, Aaron, it's Thomas. You know, your brother. You said you would visit me here, but you
This looks like a VR game.
Look, bygones be bygones. Just find me in the West Zone. I'll be waiting. Sometimes I dream about what's under the ocean. A distant shore, waiting to be explored.
I'm trying to think what it reminds me of. This looks very kinetic though. But it's not, like, visually it looks good. I think it looks okay visually. But I don't think it's, I don't know, it's not a very entertaining game. To me anyways. But if you like these types of games, maybe the story would be cool. But if you like definitely like puzzle, traversal type of games, this is definitely a game that is up your alley if you're interested in those type of things mainly. Because the traversal does look good, it does look cool, but I know I'm not gonna be that good at traversal. I don't really like traversal that much in some games. In most games, there are a few games that gets me really injected and intriguing in traversal. You know what funny? This is the longest trailer we've gotten so far in this game show, so that's kind of interesting also. Yeah, they're really showing this game off. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? I guess this is the dark mystery part of the world now. You guys like Stranger Things type of creature comes out of the sky, or loom over the sky. So far, like, the only game kind of that we'll be playing outside of this is the space game. Well, kind of got two space games: the Expanse and the Annihilation, or whatever that game is. I would try that game out. But I think also it's gonna be on Game Pass, so I'll definitely check that out there. Expanse, I would definitely purchase that one. Yeah, there was no release date I can recall being communicated here. I don't remember what the release date would be for that game, really. But it's just how it is.
Let's start with Aphelion.
My understanding is it's dual protagonist game, so you'll actually be swapping back and forth as they sort of work
like,
together.
And these talk that they do is very uninteresting.
Very emotional
like,
story.
if you like to hear what their thoughts on things,
the dual protagonist
like, I think it'll be more enjoyable.
It's
but
going
like,
to be an emotional game, especially when they put so much emphasis in the music. I feel like music is a tool to.
Well, yeah, I do like what they're trying to do.
So it's definitely something.
As Luke said, this is like a proof of concept. So hope next year they'll be able to get it better and just
Good music changes it.
working better
From
than how it
being
is
a
now.
good game to a memorable game, a game that will stick with you in a long time. So.
Well, and Donut has a pretty storied background when it comes to narrative games, whether it's like Life is Strange or like one of my old school favorites, Vampire. Like they try different stuff, weird stuff even sometimes, and so this is exciting to see them doing something
They were
different.
using the super alien music instruments. So.
Yeah. What was it called? Is
A Crystal Bachette.
Crystal Bachette.
Oh, you're talking about the hand winding one?
Yeah.
You're really into this hand winding. That's like the only
I
thing
kind
you
of want
took
to
away.
try it, honestly.
I mean,
how do you discover that technique of like, oh, that makes that, yes.
This is an award-winning composer of the Summit of the Gods as well. So what I find super impressive is just, I feel like people sleep on music so much in games, and then you see behind the scenes of this entire, like, they're in a famous church in Paris playing the organ.
Actually has been a blast to see video game music evolve during the years. Like, video games has some great music, like...
It's one of those things, when it's working, you, like, a lot of the time you don't think about it. When music is really good
All
in a
you're
game,
thinking
you
about?
don't really think about it. But then when it's exceptional, like an Expedition or like the Witcher vibes, you know, then you really remember it. But a lot of the games you play, you probably don't look up the soundtrack, even though the game is pretty good, you know?
Ironically, my Spotify rap this year was like mostly video game scores. I think there's often correlation though, whenever a developer does take the music very seriously in a game, it often reflects.
I'm sure they're taking other parts.
It reflects in every other. I mean, think about it. All the games that have, like, you think about the games with the best scores ever, like you just said, The Witcher 3 or whatever. I mean, it correlates to everything else. Every other aspect of the game, they take it seriously. So.
Another sci-fi game that is probably one of the most anticipated sci-fi games for a very long time is The Expanse: Osiris Reborn, which is from Owlcat as well. It is a third-person action RPG, obviously set in the Expanse universe.
The Expanse is a book and a show, so they're taking inspiration from both, but at the same time, it doesn't require previous knowledge of either for you to be able to enjoy this. In this game, you're going to be living more or less through what happens in the show. However, from a different perspective, from a different side, with your own group of people, with your own environment, that you got to make your own choices.
I think an important thing to frame all of the Expanse game with is that coming from Owlcat, they are a studio that did like Rogue Trader, for example. Their bread and butter is intense, gritty narratives with unbelievable levels of roleplay depth and choice and consequence, complex systems that interweave. And so seeing them go into this, which is of course a third-person cover-based shooter with many, many RPG mechanics. It's a different road. And I asked them about that in our interview and was like, how did this happen? Because typically they do sort of an isometric thing. And they just said when we decided we wanted to tackle the Expanse, it required that cinematic flair, and that's what they tackled. And they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, the game looks beautiful.
It looks very interesting to me. It looks kind of like Dead Space meets Gears of War.
It's
kind
more
of
like Mass
gameplay-wise,
Effect,
it did. Or, yeah, Mass Effect as well.
The choice and the reputation you have with your companions will change, because your companions, they told us, will disagree with some of the stuff you do. They'll get upset or
They will have their
pissed
own
about it.
opinions.
They'll have their own opinions, and they also, one interesting tidbit they mentioned was that when you are making choices in the game, they're not necessarily going to tell you if that was a big moment, if that, what you just said to them is going to seriously affect this thing over here. It will, but that's all behind the scenes.
Their game was Distant Shore, Brittany. This is what went viral as almost a portal with magnets. And I think it looks like a lot of fun.
It's such a unique concept. I could see it being big time.
You know,
Like,
it's
really
one of those
is.
games like you didn't know you wanted, but then you see it, you're like, oh, that looks like it tickles a part of my brain. Yeah.
Like we've seen
very
versions of it before, but with everything it combines, because it makes everyone think of a different game when you see it. Because we've heard Half-Life, we've heard Portal. I thought of Only Up during some parts of it.
Yeah, it had Only Up.
And other
I thought
puzzle-
Mirror's Edge a little bit with like the parkouring, wall moving stuff.
See, it makes us think of so many different things at once. So I think it's gonna do.
Just
really well.
watching some of that gameplay, I could see the rage already.
Oh yeah, the boss.
Oh yeah,
not happening.
Well, and I think it's also really cool that they have boss mechanics, because like you can tell it started with the idea of using magnets to like manipulate the environment, but then they're like, okay, well, we could raise the stakes, take it up a notch with these boss fights that are organic in the space. And
It also mixes up because it's not just a puzzle game, so there is more to it and more that you.
Yeah, there's a world that he even showed as well.
It's more than just a puzzle game, like there's a narrative behind it.
Exactly. Like they could have just stopped with the puzzle game. I think a lot of people would have been perfectly happy with that. But then they go and build on that with a story, boss fights, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, if it's not just reach a destination or do a final thing, but it's actually a narrative, like you said, that's really cool.
I think it's one to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Next up, we have two very exciting updates coming from Obsidian, that being some updates for Avowed as well as Grounded 2. We also got exclusive time with them and had some interviews, which were very exciting.
So we're gonna have updates for Avowed and Grounded 2. Is this like story beats updates? I know Grounded 2 is supposed to still be in early access the last time I checked.
Set in the world of Pillars of Eternity, where the player
So
plays
I'm
as a
kind of
envoy
just
sent by
interested to see how
of
things
a
shakes
meteor
out.
to the living lands to investigate a mysterious plague that's kind of spreading throughout the lands, causing chaos, and you play as the envoy trying to figure out what's kind of going on down there. Do things that affect it in positive ways, negative ways, or in between type of ways, with that type of choice.
I've never played Avowed.
The post-launch things we've been seeing on it, like we've gotten
Before I was gonna check it out, but
fighter trees to kind of
it was coming up to release. It just didn't look like something I was interested in, and there were other games I wanted to play around that time, so I just played those games instead.
Gear improvements and as well as bug fixes.
I think Avowed is one of those games that
That's the difference.
is for a particular type of people. Some may love it, some may not.
Are now playable.
I think if you're, I don't know, if you're outside of like the RPG, I don't think it's very inviting for you to play.
We get like a spreadsheet, kind of see what the things that are bubbling to the top. Like an example, like quarterstaff was something where just we wanted to feel like more like a wizard, right? That kind of wizardy vibe, as well as playing as Orlins. Like I think players just were bummed that we didn't include that in the base game. So I mean, it really comes down to like the time and what the community wants, and that's kind of how we decide to go about it. Yeah.
We notice like players really role play their characters in the game, so we always want to give them as many options as we can to like customize their features or character, to kind of have this fantasy in this world as they journey through the story. We just wanted to give them as many possible options as they can to really make the character they want to make, and just make it just their own. Stuff like all the playable races, we discussed it early on in Avowed. It's something both previous Pillars games had. It's a lot of work and a difficult thing to really nail down, especially in Avowed with its parkour systems and its combat mechanics and all the weapon types and stuff like that in the game. Our different races are different sizes, they're different shapes, they're a very unique game experience when you play as each one of them in a first-person game specifically. So it was something like new to wrangle for Avowed. We had no time to finish it, as we're making about, and now we can give it to the players, so it's a more rounded experience compared to the original Pillars games. It should be a whole new way to play the game. If you pick an Orlin or an Amawa, it makes you feel completely different in the world, especially if you use third person or first person. It changes it again, how you feel and present in this game, so it's pretty awesome that we can finally bring that.
New Game Plus allows the player to bring over all their abilities, all their equipable gear. It does reset it back to level 1, so it's not like you're just outright OP basically, but you know, you'll have the end game gear with all its like enchants to be able to just start the new game, as well as we have like modifiers on enemies that kind of, you know, either make them more resistant to some of the elemental types, or, you know, modifiers that make them more resistance to being stun locked or hit reacted. And that kind of gets sprinkled in kind of somewhat randomly throughout that New Game Plus experience to kind of get that added challenge, but also let the player still feel somewhat like they're accumulating their abilities over the course of multiple playthroughs. So.
We notice players like to take photos of their envoys, but it's very difficult in the game. You have to get the camera just right to get a certain distance from the character, or capture the shot in a conversation when you see your character. So this allows you to really get into it and capture some awesome shots or some scary shots, depending which way you're going.
We're super excited to announce that Avowed's finally going to come out to PS5.
Pre-orders are going to be live today. You know, keep an eye out on our socials, and we'll announce when the store page is open.
Like, scary? Really, guys? There's nothing scary about it. It's kind of interesting that it gets such big studios to kind of do this thing, though. That's kind of interesting.
It is a survival game. It is set in a gigantic city park. You play as a teenager who has been shrunken to roughly the size of an ant, and you just have to survive in this environment with, you know, insects that are the size of a bus, and figuring out how to eat and get some water and fight those bugs and craft new materials and new weapons. As you go and gain in power and get over those initial survival challenges, you can sort of get into the story of
you can,
what has really
as much as Avowed is not that, I would say not the greatest, right?
The first big content
and
update that we have. We've been
Granted 2 isn't for everybody, but you can't deny the efficiency
with this winter
of
update, which is the community
Obsidian as a studio
attached right to that
to
area,
like the degree of games that they put out, and to like how quick turnaround times has been with these games. Since they joined Xbox, they have been putting out more games, less quicker times, and
all of these introduce a lot of new.
It's Obsidian is Xbox's most efficient studio.
And then, of course,
they might not do the best looking games, the most attractive looking games, but
you know, you can
they put out enough games where
many of them are aggressive and
not all of them is going to hit,
regardless.
And
fight them, learn their
but
tactics, and then eventually
they get more points of attraction, right? So if, for example, this game is not for you, maybe if Avowed is not for you, maybe Grounded 2 is for you. But if Grounded and Grounded 2 and Avowed is not for you, then The Outer Worlds 2 is for you, right? If none of them are for you, you know, it's just something that happens. Or if all 3 of them is for you, then it's something that happens. But you can say that as a studio, and the efficiency and turnaround time, they have been doing very well.
Black ants are also coming back too. And like with both of those, you get sets of armor and different weapons that you can craft after you've defeated these creatures. We're more excited about the new creatures that are coming in the Garden update, though. So we developed a brand new creature in the cricket. The cricket is pretty big. Again, this is the size of a large bus, probably. It has some very unique attack combinations that are a lot of fun. It can also, of course, jump very, very far. It has its own armor sets. It has its own weapon or weapons that you can craft based upon it. And then the same thing for earwig. We actually have 2 different types of earwig. There's sort of a ranged earwig and a melee earwig that tend to travel around together to thwart the player with their strategic opportunities. again, you can turn those into armor. Of course, turn them into your base furnishings. You can turn them into weapons, and we think they'll offer some exciting and unique combat opportunities.
We really want Grounded 1 players to be excited to see these creatures again, but also to be surprised and delighted by the changes. You know, just like we did in the picnic area, we've revamped the combat. So that means even looking at the old legacy creatures and going, okay, how do we make them a part of the system? How do we make them challenging in this new dance? How can we leverage our systems to make them more interesting? And so hopefully there's a couple of twists coming, even with the old favorites, that will keep veteran players on their toes and will surprise and delight new players.
We have a brand new buggy, the Ladybug buggy, which you'll be able to get and raise and hatch and then ride around in the yard. And we're pretty excited about all that stuff. Like, I think all of it is coming together just really well.
I think every single Grounded player from Grounded 1 at some point jumped on the Ladybug and let it transport them around, and we often joke that that was the original buggy prototype. And there's something so iconic about the Ladybug and getting on it and wanting to ride it that it felt like an inevitability for us. But what's important for us whenever we do introduce a new buggy is we don't want it to just be another one or just a horse, you know? And so it really boiled down to what can the Ladybuggy bring to the table that the other ones weren't? What can make her stand apart and bring a utility and an experience to the player that the other buggies aren't? How can we carve out her own little niche in the game? She's the tank, she's, you know, the one who can get into those really tough fights and withstand those large swarms of insects. And that's where the idea of the water cannon on her back, and you know, players being able to shoot at their enemies, and that ended up, you know, providing a ton of gameplay opportunities and a really unique experience. Being able to shoot down the aerial insects that are often a bit more challenging and a bit more frustrating for players. Well, now you have this, you know, ranged weapon that you can take them down with that feels super satisfying, almost like an anti-air gun. For us, as soon as we crack that, it felt like, okay, there she is, that's her niche, and now it's just about bringing that experience to life and finding moments in the garden experience to really highlight that and let that shine for the player.
Prophecy, you're just a dude or a dudette, and the reason
it's
why
not kind of like
we are
the
downscaling
Xbox,
who the
like
player is,
they
is
know
because they
that,
want to be immersed more than they
like
want to
for
be
the
powerful.
developer
And
direct,
that
this
a
is what
big
this
change in our approach.
the
We
new Game
make
Plus
all of our design
showcase is
decisions
kind of
to
more
be
closely
in
familiar with.
alignment with this vision.
Is
If you were just a
the
regular person and you
Xbox
wanted to
developer
think like a
direct,
human would, but in a
where
fantasy world. It's
yeah,
when you are
they talk a bit about the
aloof,
game,
when you're just like,
in terms of mechanics and
"That's not so
stuff,
dangerous, I've done
but they
it
don't go
before."
really
And
too in
that's
depth.
when life
They are like,
snaps
oh,
back
we
at
have
you, right? In real life,
interviews
that's like
after,
that. It
which
should be like
goes
that in the
more in
design as
depth
well.
into
So
these
one
type of things,
gigantic
right?
thing is
That you
the
may be
character
interested in.
creation. In Outward One,
So
like, we
if you're curious
had
about
very
that, then
ugly
you can go in more in depth about it.
and we
But
didn't have a lot
with
of
this,
options.
it's
We had,
like
3 skin colors,
I don't think
a handful
it's
of faces,
fair
a handful
call
of
this a
figures. That's what
showcase.
it feels
Based on
like
how it
really
is, I don't think it's
throwing
fair to
yourself
call it
into
a
an RPG.
showcase.
You choose a background, you choose traits, you have a very
I think
granular
it is
system to
fine
modify and customize
to
your character
like
to your
show the
liking. One of the
games
big
and
things
so
is
forth,
you
and
choose
then
one of 3
have
starting locations. So
the
as a
developer
regular
interview
what
section,
justifies throwing
right?
yourself into danger? How to become an adventurer? Well, we have
Or better
3
yet,
different
you
quests,
have a
depending
more
on which
showcase
city you
oriented
choose.
stuff,
So
and
if
then
you
you
are in
you have
in
like
Simeon's Bastion,
showcase
you
plus
are
the
a
developer
homeless person, you're
interview
desperate.
segment we
In
can do it exactly like this,
Travertine,
right?
you are a
But I think
miner
with
and you're
this,
trying
how
to
they're doing it
improve your
is
status and your quality of life. In Haboob, you are just a
it
clerk.
does
You just bought a
make it
house. What could possibly go wrong? You know, and very
it
mundane
does make it feel
situations, like you're not special or
a bit
anything, but
draggy.
something special happens to
So
you,
everything that
and then you have
people
to
would
live
complain
up
about
to
Jeff
the
Keighley
situation.
showcase
No,
about,
we want a weather
this
system
feels
that is
like that.
very dynamic. So now we have a
It's
year-long
not
calendar
with
it's not
seasons,
pacing
and
properly.
you just go through all that. So it's gonna be winter, and then it's spring, and then summer, and
Quite
does
frankly,
change
the
what
body
kind
of games that you're
stuff
showing
can be found, what kind of
so
armor you
far
need to wear. Dual wielding is
has
gigantic.
not
So
been
now you can
anything
combine
notable.
anything that goes in one hand, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. In Outfit 1,
So
like, you had your
it's kind
offhand,
of
you could
like
only have a set amount of things, and you had your main hand. Now you can just interchange. You can have 2 shields if you want.
I don't know. It's kind of
I
like
don't recommend, but you can. Of course, like just visually, and the fact that it's much more.
I don't want to be
lush,
harsh because it's the first time.
It's more visually vibrant.
But they need to
That's
kind of
gonna be something
pacing.
that people will
You need
notice.
to have
Just
a
like in Outfit 1,
showcase that
where you
actually is a
have 8
showcase,
skill trees,
and you can
all those skill
do a
trees have some
developer
exclusive skills. So
interview
if you take
section
one,
which
you can't
focuses
take the
on
other,
like
and you have a
developers
maximum of
talking,
3
give
breakthrough
insight
points.
of the
So there's only
games and all
3
that
skill
business.
trees that you
But to
can
have
learn
everything
from
here
to the
like
maximum of
this,
the
it's
capabilities.
not
Otherwise, it will
quite,
have
it's
like
not that
first
interesting.
2
It's not a
layers of
good.
skills available. One
I
thing
said
we added
pacing
were,
is not
are
good.
the attribute the core stats, so strength, agility, constitution, willpower.
The pacing is
So
not
we
good.
added those. We're gonna track a lot of different things that you do. They're all gonna
It's
have
just
like different
drags.
thresholds.
I ain't gonna
So
lie,
let's
it
say
just
you
really
dodge
drags.
attacks successfully a certain number of times.
I know probably
you
some of the
unlock a
games will be
node
interesting to some people,
that
and
will
I
give you
think
a
that
passive
is
trait
fair.
and
But for you to
increase
find
your
interesting new
agility.
games,
So
because they're
very
not
small
entirely bad
incremental
games,
changes.
you know.
We start with very simple things.
It's not like they
and it
they've
expands
gotten
in
a lot
more
of
and
big
more
studios to kind of
So if
come
you
on
won't
board
be
with it.
able
Like
from the very start
Obsidian
to
is
unlock
quite
all
a
3
notable
skill
studio.
trees just because you have
The guys that
do it,
they do
you
X
will
Witcher
have to
guys,
have experience.
it's
You will
quite
need to
notable of their
practice the life of
CV,
danger and
and
RI
even
to be able to
the
understand, like, get
expands.
to the
That's a
next
big
level
thing
of
to
these
get
skill trees.
on
Other
like
than
a
that,
streamers
I think
coming
it's
together
important to
doing a
note that
showcase.
all 4
That's really
regions
big and
are
really
new
impressive.
regions, so it's really
But
just
like,
completely new environment to
stills,
explore.
like, it's just not, you know.
Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into our upcoming action RPG, Varen's Core. The world of Leda is entirely shrouded by darkness on one side,
This
while
looks a bit
scorched
better,
by
but
endless
like,
sun on
you
the
know,
other. These incredibly hostile areas are known as the Forsaken Realms.
it should have
As you
been
may
better.
have noticed, is the name of the universe we're
And
meticulously
on top of
crafting.
it, they should have known
Your
better
first step toward the
because
Forsaken Realms will take
every
you to the
criticism
Vale
that
of
they're
Varin,
going to get
a
for
city
this
on the brink of
is basically the
collapse,
criticism
and the
that
first of our narrative
devs
focused
have gotten.
adventures.
Even Microsoft themselves have
You'll
gotten for
step
the
into
Zero
the boots
Direct
of
in
a lone
previous
mercenary,
years.
seeking to enter
And
Varen's Core for aid,
so it's like
and
you
maybe earn some gold and glory along the
knowing
way.
how gamers are, you knowing the complaints that gamers are going to have, yet still you still
It's
do a
clear that Varen
showcase
needs a
with
hero,
all those
and every hero
problems
needs a way
front
to
and
slay the
center
countless
in
fantastical beasts
place.
they'll encounter.
It's kind of
Varen's
weird.
Core
It
aims
make
to
it
cater to
seems
a wide
like,
range of playstyles,
are you part
offering
of the
you the
industry?
freedom to combat the unknown
Are you
in a
really that
variety of
tacked
ways.
into what people
Whether
have
you
been
prefer
saying
to
over the
be a
years
nimble-footed archer,
to the
flinging
industry
fireballs between arrows,
about like these
or face your foes
these
toe-to-toe as an
showcases,
axe-wielding whirlwind of death?
right?
The choice is yours.
Because
The game's
this
classless
feels
system
this
means you're
feels
never
like a
locked into playing
showcase in
specific way.
quotes.
You have the ability to adapt, alter,
Right.
or completely switch playstyles midway through your adventure. Unlock and spend perk points to obtain new skills and abilities, and level up your mercenary's core stats
Also,
by
like
gaining
you
character
could do what
experience.
Microsoft do with like extended,
chests throughout
because
the
this could have
world
been an
will reward you
extended,
with a range
and
of
you short
weapons,
need to just
armor,
focus on
and unique
trailers,
trinkets.
and a brief cut
Some
in
provide
saying
unique
that
effects to
you,
help you
you
gain
guys
an
need a
edge in your
brief
next combat encounter.
synopsis of what you think about the
The
game,
local hamlet of South
and
Vale acts
I would
as a
say
hub,
probably like a minute,
a
2
safe
minute
space that
most,
provides
do a
various
round table
amenities
thing,
for you to
really
further
quick,
develop your character.
and move on,
Use
right?
the Forge to upgrade the weapons and armor you find throughout the
For the
world.
showcase, right?
And the
But you have the
dismantling
extended
bench to
version that have
deconstruct
all that
items
little
and materials.
banter, that all that little thinking you're doing
The
in
spell crafting
between,
table
and
can be
you
used to
know,
increase the
whatever.
power of your magic.
So I
Everything
think
from an area of
they
effect
need
from
to
this attack that
really
stops the enemy in their tracks, to ripping up the ground from underneath their feet with destructive force.
really review how
Use
they're
the
doing that
trap-making bench
more.
to upgrade and unlock new
Do better,
traps and gadgets.
you know.
A nice compliment to your arsenal.
If they're
allowing
able
you
to
the
do it next
opportunity
year,
to
do better.
catch your enemies off guard.
You know.
And finally, the alchemy Alchemy Cauldron. This can be used to custom brew a multitude of mixtures, from replenishing health and restoring stamina to curing yourself of nasty status effects. These concoctions are sure to aid you on your journey.
This is
Okay,
not
great.
interesting, to
So
be honest.
you've equipped
This
that
is
shiny in
really
your
not
helmet,
interesting.
purchased that slightly
Oh, I
overpriced
don't wanna-
magic spell you always had your eyes on, and upgraded that new Polybuster barrel to the volatile variant that has
Oh
even
my
more boom.
god.
You're ready to get back into the fight, but maybe you want a change of pace. Yes, you're supposed to be the hero and save the
Like
city.
I was thinking, like probably gonna get something because
Heroes need
my
breaks too.
idea was like we'll do a reaction
Besides,
and then
there's
after
a whole
we'll
world
do
to
like,
explore,
oh, these are games
and
that we're
quirky
showing here.
characters from all walks of life.
But based on the
need
games we're
your help
showing here, there's nothing really new.
their
There's no new trailer that shows different size of a game.
You might find yourself
So I don't
involved in
think
a murder mystery.
I would want
helping
to.
a local peacekeeper catch the criminal behind the
There's
death
nothing
of
new.
a beloved friend.
I don't know.
Maybe you're
The good thing is
on a
that
mission
the Xbox Developer
to
Direct is
rid
in what,
Varin of the
2
Ganami
weeks,
scourge that
22.
plagues the city.
So
All
about
because
a
a
week's
crazy
time or
guy
so
in an
for it. So
outhouse.
I'm interested in that more. 'Cause I know Xbox last year we got the Ninja Gaiden 2 and
Maybe we should stick to the
the
main
Ninja
task
Gaiden
at hand
2
after
and
all.
the new Ninja Gaiden
Varin's
Ninja
call is
Gaiden
soon
2
to release on
remake and the
PC
new
with
Ninja
full
Gaiden
controller
that
support, with the
came
aim of
out
releasing on
last year,
consoles
which
at
was
a
really
later date.
cool.
While
So
games
I
inspired by
know
classics
we
like
have
Fable and the Elder
stuff on
Scrolls.
Fleek to
So if this sounds
really,
like your kind of
you know,
adventure, consider heading over to Steam and adding it to
when
your wish list.
when it comes
to stay
on
up to date
to
with us.
the Xbox Developer Direct.
Until then, we'll see you mercenaries soon.
Look like okay game. I think some people played, but I don't think a lot of people is really into. Okay, this is a cool intro. This was one that looked a bit janky in terms of the character movement, but the dragon movement looks nice. The texture is kind of off a bit, but it looks cool. I don't know. Yeah, the texture is kind of off a bit. It looks cool enough. It does look cool. Is I able to? Oh, so you play as the dragon. Kind of interesting building a game around playing as a dragon, though. Very intriguing. Is that somebody's on it? It doesn't look like anybody's on. No. Somebody is on it. Yeah, there's someone on it. Everything else looks good in the game. You can see someone who's on it. Yeah. A lot of arms. Oh, you can edit the dragon. Okay, that's interesting. There's gonna be some horrifying designs out of it. Oh, so this is like it's already probably out already. That's interesting. The Dragon Creator is built in. That's pretty interesting. The dragon as like the main thing, and able to edit the dragon in that way is very
First
interesting.
question I had was, how hard is this game going to be? Because the most common question about the original Outward
Welcome
was,
back to the
okay,
Born
this is
aspect.
like, does it have to be so?
Interviews. All right. I wonder if there will be a campaign for this. Okay. So Atomic Heart getting the final DLC. That was cool.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it is.
It's in the sky, a giant cube. I can still barely believe it myself.
This looked like the same trailer.
When it showed up, I was in the lab. I didn't even see it. You know? I felt that same fear, though. A terrible sense of my own powerlessness. How did the whole of humanity miss it? And did we actually miss it? What if the cube didn't appear, but revealed itself? What if it was always there, and we've only just started to see it?
This is looking so cool, guys. This is looking... Ooh! Ooh! That looking so cool. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good, guys.
of Pyre is an attempt to modernize and make more accessible the RTS genre while simultaneously keeping all of the complexity and the opportunities for mastery that have made RTS so popular over the years. So it's I would refer to it as a Blizzard style RTS, the fast action, big battles, very tactical, kind of very rapid fire chess. We realized that RTS, in part because it was dominated by a few big players, never really went through the kind of indie transformational experimentation. Some of the companies that tried to do so did so by stripping away features or losing some of the things that really made RTS great. In the early days, we surveyed a lot of players in both MOBA and RTS communities, and found that they really loved the fantasy of commanding an army. RTS, at the end of the day, if you were to
To be honest, I've never really got into RTS games.
An army, another guy's commanding an army.
It just
in real
feels
time. Right.
too
Because
disattached.
you get individual unit
you know.
control, it can be very overwhelming, and because you're also building those units.
Like,
because
but I
you're
still want to play
building
Halo
base,
Wars,
because
that kind of series, and I want to play the gears.
Along with the
But like,
simultaneously. That for most players, it just gets
those
overwhelming
two
and
is just because I'm
complicated.
interested in the
we
universe,
worked
not
through
necessarily
it
RTS
kind of
itself,
line by
but the
line,
universe
trying
of
to
both
figure out what
Halo
are the
and
rogue
Gears.
tasks, what are the things
They
that
kind of
players
like
are
put you in a
required
position
to
where
do
like
that are not really
you
decisions, that are more
want to
just
play it
chores,
because you're more
right?
invested
and how do we
in the
make more and more of the
universe as a
complexity
whole than necessarily
in the game, but
interest of the game itself.
opt-in. We refer to it as opt-in complexity. And then simultaneously, how do we create a world and experiences and game modes that people want to be a part of? We want to take this genre and show people this genre isn't dead. People want this fantasy. They want the...
You saw wall running, you saw just like traditional gunplay.
The other cool part to me is that it is set in a universe that people have already been a part of.
The world of Atomic Heart's very interesting.
Can you explain it a little bit?
It's kind of
Hi
like
guys,
it
so
is Soviet
I checked
Russia in an alternate
the
timeline
YouTube to see the
where
runtime
they've
of
mastered
this,
robotics, but then there's like evil
and
robots.
they're basically saying it's 3.5 hours long.
That's a good way to put it.
And what's
Just
interesting
3.5
is
hours long.
that from the original game Atomic Heart, one of the primary things people loved about
I'm not
it
gonna
was,
sit here
like,
for 3.5
boss
hours.
fights, and then like the outdoor environments and the art direction. And that is just the cube. And then they're adding in this multiplayer component as well with like, it seems like PvE elements with
As I said
bosses that you'll
before,
fight
they
against
should have
together
done an
as the
extended
cube
version,
rotates. I can't wait
right,
to find out
that
more.
has all
I
these
love how
stuff in
open-ended
it,
they are. Mundfish are like,
an actual
we are all
showcase
curious
that's
because we
around
don't
1
know
hour
the exact
long.
direction they're going,
You have a
where it
break
could
in
end up,
between
and
to
I was
have
trying to
like
pinpoint, like, what
2
game I was
minutes the
looking at,
most.
because we are gonna flow
Of
into
all of them
Atomic
is giving
Heart,
a
and I
brief,
love that time
quick,
between those
snappy
worlds,
thought
but
on the
I
game,
honestly, I saw a piece of like
and
the
just
finals
move
and the
on,
first
right?
destructibility and cube movement we
It should
saw
be
when
cut
the
up
finals first
into,
released.
you can say
There was
1.5
something about that
hours,
aesthetic
because
that
I've
I
been
also
here
saw,
for
and I was
1.5
like, okay,
hours
now
now.
I'm instantly locked back into this.
And
The DLCs people love.
there are
There's
some
already
games that
Atomic
I've
Heart 1 and 2.
really
This is
loved
their
like so
fourth and
far.
final DLC for Atomic Heart.
Like
And
the
we saw the
expanse,
trailer, we saw the screenshots.
the
It
Atomic
adds new
Hearts, the cube
environments,
looks
and
very
it looks
interesting.
good.
I might try it
And the
out
third
when it
game
comes
on our list with
when
that
it
one
does
was
come out.
Immortal Gates of Pyre by
I never
Sunspear.
played Atomic Heart, to be
Jake,
honest.
You had a great conversation with
But
Ian.
I think the world looks cool.
It's a game
I
that's
think the
been
world
in
looks cool. I think the
development for a
game
long
looks
time.
interesting, but I've never really played it. But I do think it's interesting, right? The Expanse, I like that. That's one I definitely want to play. The other Alation, whatever the game is, that looks cool. That's still the donut game. I don't really love that one, but it looks cool enough for me to give it a try, right? but there's a lot of
you see these games and you know
extended like discussion talking in between from these guys that goes on for way too long.
They want to try and combat the pillars
dev interviews
in the RTS genre. We know Age of Empires, but we also
even if you want to keep dev interviews, right?
People kind of go to.
They should not be speaking so long, right?
In the genre that blew up so early
that
on,
should have been in an extended cut.
Like this to make
do you think even dev interviews should have been cut down to be more digestible and put into the longer discussion should be put in an extended cut? The fact that they're doing all this long, drawn out speaking and excessiveness just makes it like
it's awesome.
Very uninteresting to watch, very uninteresting to pay attention to.
Been playing this his entire life. I have no. Yeah, I don't have any clue how to do it.
I live for micro.
Everything that wrong with Jeff Keighley's show in the past couple of years, whether it's the Summer Game Fest, the Game Awards, it is all here. 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
But I do want to really
is way too long for a showcase.
When it comes to
should have been shorter.
Whatever the current
2 hours the most. I would even say it shouldn't even be 2 hours, like 1.5 hours. Cut down you guys like thoughts into 2 minutes the most. Is so much, but it's 5 of you, so 2 minutes should give brief, quick snippet thoughts and move on. If you want to give more elaborate things.
Next up, we
then
have what I'm calling kind of a
definitely an
Western
extended cut should have been needed, right?
That's gonna be Paradox Studio.
There shouldn't be a talking about the games, what's coming next. You should show what's coming next, show trailers, and go on, right? I realize, especially early part, there's not really a lot to show of the games. It's more like the devs want to talk. So in those cases, like you let the devs talk if that's what you want to make a showcase about. But like I think titling a showcase makes the expectation a bit like, oh, you're showing me cool games, what they look like, probably give me a bit more extent of the mechanics, and not a lot of, especially like the don't know thing, spending like excessive time on the music of all things. Like that is of no importance to the game. No one wants like that's like oh I don't even know, guys, right? I don't even know, but like
one of the game's main hubs is the
I don't think
this
is not ready. 3.5 hours, not ready. Cool, not ready. But we'll say this, guys. Leave it here.
Job well done.
I'm not finished watching this thing.
The game is structured in chapters, and almost everyone.
If you guys want to watch the full thing, like it's New Game Plus.
Outside the tower lies a harsh, scorched
it
desert.
is. It hasn't been fun.
Through it in a heavily modified car, designed to protect you from extreme
it hasn't been fun.
Such as heat
There
and
are
radiation.
sparse of moments there, but
Inside the vehicle, you have access to your computer,
3.5
storage, and a
hours.
working radio.
Wow. 3.5 hours, guys. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for enjoying the content. Please like on the video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But this is it, guys. See you guys next one.